Port is a symbol of Ghana's drive for industrialization, trade, and a gateway to West Africa. Established under the vision of its first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the port was opened on 10th February 1962. As the Ghanaian economy grew on the back of cocoa and gold, trade volumes increased at an average rate of 10 to 15% per year. The increasing traffic at Tema Port pointed to the need for expansion.
In the 80s, we've seen quite a big shift from general cargo to break bulk. And in the 90s, just containers dominated any commodity that can be unitized for easier handling and for easier relay from point A to point B. And in that era, Ghana realized that actually we need to develop our port into a container terminal, and that's when MPS took a concession in 2004 to build and operate the first container terminal inside Tema Port. The investment into Terminal 2, the market size was 140 to 150,000 TEUs. However, when we completed the construction within a time of like a couple of years, and we launched the operation, the market had already reached 240,000 TEU. So we almost, not quite doubled up, but we almost doubled up. So we built a capacity of 400,000 to cater for a market which is 140,000. And on the day or the first year of operation, we clocked 250,000. And then in the next year, we were 350. So quickly we had to pump in some capacity, more equipment, more handling, more technology to speed up the process, et cetera, et cetera. And before we realized it, in 2015, we were approaching the 700,000 TEU in a capacity which is 800,000 TEU maximum. And here the limit wasn't adding more cranes. The limit was infrastructure. We need more space.
In November of 2016, His Excellency President John Mahama, seated in a bulldozer, pushes the first boulders into the sea. This marked the official start of construction works on the new Tema Port expansion project. As part of the marine works, 127 hectares of land was reclaimed from the sea to form the subbase on which the terminal was built.
And so it was a beautiful partnership between GPHA and the MPS partners. On the day that we commissioned the crane, I read my speech, and after my speech, I said that there was a limit to how much we can continue expanding this port. And so I challenged the MPS partners, including GPHA, and asked, can't we build a new port? And they said, yes, we can build a new port. But I said, remember that government of Ghana would not put $1 in it. We don't have money to build a new port, so you have to go find the money yourselves. And they said, yes, we can do it if you support us. I said, you have my full support. They went to look for the money, and that's where a lot of the work took place between the shareholders, Kapoha, the Ministry of Transport. And one day they asked for an appointment to see me in my office. And when they came, they were all beaming with excitement and said, Mr. President, we're going to build you a new port. They showed me the drawings. They said, we have arranged the funding And so we would invite you to come and cut the sod so that the new construction work can take place.
The new terminal has been developed completely out of the sea. We're standing, as I said, 700 meters into the ocean at this moment. In order to do this, we not only had to bring 7 million cubic meters of sand and material to reclaim, but we've also built a 3.5 kilometer breakwater.
The breakwater was pushed deep into the Atlantic, 1.5 kilometer deep, and then swung for 2 kilometers as well. So total length of the breakwater is 3.5 kilometers, exactly 3,550 meters long in the deep. And that is a massive structure, to shelter the harbor basin from the hydroforce of the Atlantic. And in that space, we went 700 meters and built our quay wall. So our land that we operate on is 700 meters into the Atlantic Ocean, but our harbor basin goes another 800 meters into the Atlantic, allowing for a peninsula in the future to be grown and more berths to be built from the inner side of the breakwater.
The quay wall, that is the platform where ships dock and cranes discharge and load containers, is made up of submerged massive concrete structures called caissons that weigh 2,600 tons each.
The caissons, which you can see behind me, are reinforced concrete structures. They will ultimately be lined up in the water to create the berth for the vessels to come in and berth against.
Moving these massive structures is a daunting task, and the China harbor construction teams need all the help they can get.
Once the casting process is complete, which happens in 5 layers, the caissons are then moved into the storage bays. They are moved using a winch system and rolled on airbags that are inflated to roll the caisson along. The caissons are then rolled down to a jetty. At the jetty, the caissons are transferred onto a semi-submersible barge. Once in place on the barge then sails out into deeper water and slowly sinks, allowing the caissons to float in the water. They are then lined up end to end to create the berth structure. There will be 73 caissons, creating a berth length of 1,400 meters on the TPEP project.
Following the land reclamation, we then launched the land work package. The land work package includes the construction of the pavement structure with the utilities, the construction of the 4 main buildings, admin building, workshop, authorities building, and the explosive platform with a capacity of 60 bays, the construction of the various gate and ISPS wall, the construction of the power plant with a capacity of 60 MVA, and the construction of the backup power plant with a capacity of 12 MVA.
The civil works on the project required 63.5 million paving blocks to be laid over the underground service lines. 42,000 meters of drainage was constructed. CCTV systems with over 150 cameras and Wi-Fi systems have all been laid. The building works for the main MPS office, authorities' buildings, the warehouses and inspection bays were all commissioned in 2019. On the 20th of December 2018, the first batch of gantry cranes arrives at the port. The Ghana Port's harbour master and his team of pilots work to guide the ship into the channel and maneuver it safely to berth. This is the first time a vessel will enter the new channel.
For me, today receiving cranes means that we're going from a construction site to becoming a port.
As the new port gets ready to go live, a plan is activated to realize a seamless transition into live operations. Test vessels are deployed and risks identified and mitigated. The new port is implementing various new technologies and operational protocols.
We have new systems also coming in, but these new systems will require some training as well, as today how we work on the terminal will be different.
For us as a TOS team, we have a bigger yard, we have more machines, we have automated gates, appointment systems to integrate. So that's exciting times for us.
During the port expansion, you have so many trucks running. You know, a lot of work going on in quarries. Currently, we have over 1,000 workers on site. You have engineers, you have technicians, you have drivers, you have architects. Each and every one of these workers is learning a lot more skill. Then post-expansion, look at the kinds of equipment that we are bringing in. We are bringing in ship-to-shore cranes, we are bringing ERTGs. You know, all these things, people are going to be trained on them.
On the 28th of June, 2019, Terminal 3 Phase 1 begins operations, receiving vessels, discharging and loading containers on a 24-hour operation. Productivity gains were immediate as the new port starts receiving larger vessels, raising its throughput dramatically from 2 million to 2.3 million TEUs. Phase 2 construction works started in late 2023.
And the phase 2 area is here. The area marked in red is the phase 2 area. And we are going to construct the pavement structure on the remaining 27 hectares. And in addition to that, we will also construct the utilities.
ACOM is an engineering company supervising the project for both phase 1 and phase 2. So we're privileged to be part of phase 1 and completing phase 2. We have a full team of local engineers resourced very well for the project. So this is fully engineering, contingents from Ghana and Ghanaians.
In November of 2025, President John Mahama commissions the completed T3 project, bringing full circle the process that started with his vision for a new port.
Tonight, we also look up from all the hard work done and look towards the horizon, our joint vision for the future, holding great opportunities for further growing trade and infrastructure in this magnificent country. And we are honored of our joint history with this country dating back for more than 100 years. The first vessel call by the Maersk Group happened in 1919 with the cargo steamer Eleonora Maersk. She was contracted to bring coconuts to Europe. Container trade in the region has grown with more than 50% in less than a decade. More than 50%. Outpacing global averages. The largest vessels are calling here with up to 24,000 containers. And Ghana has emerged as a strategic hub.
At GPHA, we have embraced this philosophy wholeheartedly, aligning our operations with the 24-hour economy to maximize productivity, job creation, and enhance competitiveness.
The remaining 27 hectares of terminal yard were completed in late 2025, with the addition of a marine building, a sailor's lounge to help ease social isolation.
10 years ago, it was a beach. There were sand everywhere. There were no deep water terminal there. There was no infrastructure capable of receiving 24,000 ships. Actually, 10 years ago, these ships were not even designed. So there were no crane reaching across the world's largest container vessel. You know, what it takes to transform a beach into one of the Africa's most modern container terminals is not simply a matter of construction, of engineers. Again, it's a result of a strategic vision. It's a result of a leadership at the highest level of the state. It's a result of trust between public authority and reliable private partners. It is a result of believing together that the future can be bigger and brighter than the world today.
The Tema Port Expansion Project, MPS Terminal 3, is fulfilling the vision of the nation's leaders. It's making Ghana a true gateway to West Africa and a transshipping hub in the region.